The next poem was written for Dorothea Boggis Rolfe. She had her 100th birthday party recently, and it was matins in church, followed by drinks and nibbles. I had 3 days to write her a poem. I thought, I've got to put a poem in her card. But I've known her for a very long time. And the story I tell here about how she caught and won her husband is completely true. It's called Bottling Pears in the Scullery, for Dorothea Boggis Rolfe. You've put down roots in Wormingford, just like the trees around your house. When someone calls, you give them fruit, mulberries, gooseberries, currants, figs, or, if it's winter, a pot of jam. Year on year, you've gathered sweetness into jars for other people to enjoy. You never learnt to drive a car, had no need to be somewhere else, and yet it was a faulty clutch which brought your husband to the door of your parents' house at Henley. And like an owl in silent flight, you set out in pursuit of him. Love at first sight. You were 16. You applied for work on his parents' farm, milked the cows at dawn, at dusk, to be on hand for news of him, the war. The man you loved was home on leave. You were bottling pears in the scullery. Oh, that's where you are. He picked up a commis, tasted it, then put it down, took your hand. Will you marry me? You were together for 60 years. Yet even now the smell of pears evokes that memory. Barn owl flies on silent wings above the store, above the Thames. I've got a little PS about that poem. Ronald Blythe also lives in Wormingford. He also lives at an funny old farmhouse at the end of a long green track. And I sent him this poem. And he wrote this letter back to me, which almost is a poem in itself. Dear Polly, he calls me Polly, your birthday poem for Dorothea is perfect. Hume, that's Dorothea's husband, Hume used to tell me about that proposal in the scullery. I was taken to meet her by John Nash when I was 23. So, what a long way we all go back. As how wonderful it is to have such friends. I expect Dorothea was putting her pears in Kilner jars. Do you remember these? There are still some at Bottengom's. It is such a perfect poem. Only you could have written it, and I will put it with my special papers. Dorothea is so unchanging, so as she always has been. When I kiss her after church on Sunday mornings, no time exists between when we first met and now. What would our little group do without each other?